Okay, there we go. We're going to be on the right tank for a little while because it's full to the absolute brim and it's probably going to be overflowing. At least we'll taxi. We've got a fair bit to taxi this morning. So that'll get rid of a fair bit of the excess fuel out of the tank. And then we'll fly most of the, well, probably more than the first hour on the left tank. Yes, for some reason there's some big heavy lump on the left-hand side of the aeroplane, which makes the left-hand side of the aeroplane a bit heavy. I'm not carrying a passenger. Okay, so we've put the flaps up. We've selected the right tank. We've got the trim set for takeoff. Mixture we'll put in a second. Carby heat's off. We'll just run the boost pump and make sure that we're getting fuel pressure out of the boost pump. That's the test for the boost pump, and it works. It'll also be filling the carb bowl up, the bowl of the carburetor. The pressure's not climbing anymore. If I haven't flown for a long time, it'll take you can hear the note change on the pump as it starts to fill once the carburetor bowl is filled up. We're on cylinder head temperature, which is 64. This is in Fahrenheit, by the way. Going across at the hangar here, we're about 940 feet, which is about there. A little bit below 940, I think. Okay, and I'm coming across here now. I get to the airspeed indicator, which hopefully you can see on this camera. And that prompts me to look out and make sure that the pitot cover is removed. Come down to the G meter. We can reset the G meter now. G meters are reset before the first flight, not at the end of the last flight, especially if you've got more than one person flying the aeroplane. So there's the G meter set. The angle we're pointed on right now is just a little bit west of north. So we can come around here. To about there. And the bearing is 261. Which is where we're heading this morning. So we can set this heading bug to 261. That's 270, 260, just about there. That'll be pretty close. We'll set that again when we get down to the other end of the airfield, but that's going to be pretty close to the mark. Okay, then we're pretty much ready to start up. So I'll turn you off for the startup, and all I'm going to do is put the mixture in and call clear prop and start it up. And I'll also pump the throttle. Okay. Clear prop. There we go. Now, get you back on again. Oil pressure's coming up. That's probably the first most important thing on startup is that you're getting oil pressure. You do not want to be running the engine with no oil pressure. It won't run for very long anyway. I guess it'll stop. Now we can get the radio stack fired up. So the transponder can go on because it takes a fair while to warm up, maybe a few minutes. The radio can come on, which is 126.15, which is Temora, and the GPS can go on.
Romeo, Yankee, Romeo. Thanks, mate.
Now we can program the GPS. We won't go to, what is it? YWTO. YWT Oh. Okay, here we go. Everything looks to be settled down. The temperature, the oil temperature will come up as we taxi. Traffic, Temora Papaska Charlie, RV6 taxis this time, taxi away Echo for runway 05 for a departure to the west. Papaska Charlie rolls runway 05. Traffic, Temora Papaska Charlie, RV6 departing circuit area Temora this time, tracking outbound 261 on climb 9500. We'll swap over to the left-hand tank right now, because it's full to the brim as well. And the aeroplane's pretty good. A little bit heavy on the left-hand side, but not too bad. Now all I do is I try and hold about 100. Maybe usually about 105 knots on a cruise like this. I do a cruise climb, and yeah, just settle down to about 105 knots, indicated, and then I watch the ground speed. And if the ground speed starts dropping off, then I've probably gotten too high and I need to come down a little bit. Pretty simple. There's 105, a little bit less, maybe 104, 103. And we're through 4,500 feet already, and we're doing 124 knots across the ground. But we'll try and hold it about there. The exhaust gas temperature, I do actually lean on climb. I aim for about 1150, not more than 1150. That's coming up now, it'll be 1100 shortly. There you go, 1100. 105 knots, 127 knots ground speed. I guess if we're in a commercial flight, you could think about getting the drinks trolley out about now. Look at this. Absolutely dead calm. Absolutely. That's 8,500 and 132 knots. We're slightly over our 105, might be 106, 107 still. Still 700 feet a minute up. Exhaust gas temperature's dropping off a bit so we can lean a little bit more. There's 9,000 feet. Speed's not picking up a bit more. This is about what we're going to get out of the ground speed, I'd say, 132 knots. While we're climbing, once we settle down in the cruise, I expect to get a better ground speed. It should be probably about 150 to 160 knots, maybe a bit more. Coming up on 9,500 now, so we'll bring the nose down a little bit. We can back the power off a tad. I want to cruise at 65% power. We're still climbing a little bit there. I can get rid of the power now, I guess. Still about there. That's pretty close to where we need to be. Ground speed 149 knots. We're a fair bit away from being settled down in the cruise yet. Takes a little bit to settle her down. We're pretty much spot on track. Very, very, very close to 65% power. Now lean the engine off to it'll be about just below 1,300 degrees exhaust gas temperature. That's 154 knots of ground speed and about 127 knots indicated. We'll just check what our peak exhaust gas temperature is, and we'll go 30 degrees rich of feet. Yeah, 13, 35, 36, 37, 39. We'll call it, the engine's starting to die a bit there. That's 1340. So we need to be about 1310. So we're just reaching it up to about 1310. $13.20, 19, 18. That's 1310. As long as it's somewhere between about 1300 and 1310, I'll be happy. That's 1307. That'll do me. 1306. We're still climbing ever so slightly, but we're still going to pick up a little bit more speed yet.
Alpha Hotel Mike, sign up us. Alpha Hotel Mike, Melbourne Center.
Okay. I've we've got about 20 minutes to run, something like that. I just wanted to show you the countryside. It's this is low scrub out here. Some cleared land, but basically not very hospitable. No, not very many towns. There's a town over that way, somewhere, called Mildura. And of course we're 20 minutes to run this way. So I just wanted to get you fired up and back online before we get much closer, because I need to be doing some piloty stuff. The only change we really made is I brought the altitude back down to 8,500, just to stay in the right hemisphere. So yeah, otherwise the speed's still the same if you can read that GPS. Going 153 knots. We dropped back a little bit. I think the wind has swung around more to our left side. So
Traffic, Wentworth, Papa Charlie, RB6 is currently 33 nautical miles to the east inbound, shortly relieving 8,500 on descent and estimating the circuit area Wentworth at time 14.
Okay, so all we do now is we richen the mixture up a little bit, and we pull the throttle back to give us about 19 inches of mercury on manifold pressure, and do nothing else. The airplane will eventually settle itself down. It might be descending a little bit less than desirable. A little bit less than desirable at first, but it'll eventually get down to 500 feet per minute, and it'll hold that 500 feet per minute until we arrive. Okay, 17 miles to run.
Currently 10 miles to the east inbound, on descent through 4,000, estimating the circuit area Wentworth, time 14. Traffic, TechNav 7869, turning base for runway 09 for a full stop, Mildura. Traffic, Wentworth for Oscar Charlie. Charlie be joining downwind at runway 08, full stop.
Okay, mixture's full rich, brakes are off, undercarriage down as well. Fuel's on and sufficient. bit bouncy down here closer to the ground. But anyway, get rid of all of the horsepower now. We don't need any of it really. Rid of that. Get rid of the carby heat. I should have taken the other runway. Why would that happen when you're flying to somewhere where there's a whole bunch of people? Do 1,000 of those and have no problem whatsoever, but when you get near a whole bunch of people, you just go stupid. Anyway, this is the countryside. Not very exciting. A whole bunch of formation aeroplanes here.
Oscar Charlie's landed at Wentworth, clear of all runways. 12085, please. Go ahead.
Are you for static display or general parking?
No, just general.
Okay, parking's at the far eastern end, if you would please.
Okay, I might get some fuel first.
Well, here it is, Friday afternoon at Wentworth. Wentworth, our version of EAA's fly-in. I'll just take you for a walk along some of the flight line. We'll have a look at those aeroplanes over there later on this afternoon. Most of them are part of a formation team, and they do either a 12 or a 13 ship formation. We go down, we've got a Lancair Legacy here with a retractable undercarriage, Glasair 3, RV10. Oh, look at that. Some of you might recognise this aeroplane in some of my hangar shots. Looking lovely in the sun. I don't know the later RV12 maybe. Yeah. This one looks like a 7A to me. And obviously, I think that might be an RV10, couldn't be sure. Maybe that big red sign is a bit of a giveaway. They're beautiful aeroplanes. Another 7A. How you going? Ah, there's a 6. Another Lenker. Another 7A. How you going? That looks like an 8A. Not too many of them around. Most people just build straight 8s. They look the part with a nose wheel and trainer wheel thing up the front there. Oh no, that's beautiful. Really lovely. Incredible. Too shiny for the camera. Got a few. This is the overflow parking area over the back here. I don't know how many aeroplanes we've got. There's probably 60 or 70, something like that. But I'll just keep walking and we'll see what we can see. How you going? I think he's got some sponsorship from somewhere. And there's a lovely commercial aeroplane. There's the old Comanche, fantastic. It's a very imaginative colour scheme on that 7. Grey on grey. This is the campground. See, that must remind you of Oshkosh, surely. We've got what, 610s. Mooney. We'll come back along there in a minute. I don't know whether you picked up on it, but I'm heading for that yellow biplane down the end there. I've already spoken to the owner of that biplane there with the Verna radial. We'll have a look at that on the way back too. He's the guy who sold me my propeller for my Rotec radial. Nice guy. These things look beautiful. I don't think they perform very well, but they look beautiful. And of course the Jabiru, Australian-made aeroplane.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you've all had something to eat and the various food options available. Just announcing that the S888 fire will be starting in 5 minutes. The next workshop also starting in 5 minutes.
Ah, there you go. My neighbour's got a Scout. They're a big lump of a thing. He tows gliders with his. That's bloody beautiful too. I want one of everything, I think. I've pretty much made up my mind now. There's an RV8 and a 6. Yeah, a 6A. I haven't seen that aeroplane before. I reckon I could probably sell him my prop. Oh no, there it is. What a beast. What a beast. We need one of these. We seriously need one of these. Yep. Oopsie. We're full down here, are we? It's an RV7. These guys are merrily getting out as quick as they can so they can push the aeroplane back so this other guy can get in. It's not very exciting. Oh, there you go, do a ground loop and with a with a happy ending. Yeah, there you go. No, we definitely need one of these. There's, you know, there's not much difference between need and want. This is definitely need, this one. Definitely. There's a pretty 7. Pretty nice colour scheme. Lovely. The guys from another town, Bendigo. Yeah, my camping days are over, I can tell you. I camped in a hotel last night. Might have only had 2 stars. And if you push it, you might get 3 stars out of it. But it beats the hell out of 1,000 stars laying under the wing of an aeroplane. That's sort of minimalistic. They're a beautiful little thing, aren't they? Absolutely. Now this is Derek's aeroplane here. How lovely is that? He obviously prefers the Verna radials. Although I tell you what, he was telling me the price he paid for this, and it was a hell of a sight more than I paid for my Rotec. A hell of a sight more. But they look good, they sound good, and they seem to go pretty good. So, you know, this the thing that sort of turned me off was this the oil drain tank here at the bottom, dangling down below the aeroplane. That sort of turned me off a little bit. But it's the only thing, and this aeroplane's absolutely gorgeous, absolutely fantastic. You know, look at the lines on those tapes, just absolutely perfect. No, this man knows what he's doing, and his woodwork is just as good. Look at the woodwork on the around here. You know, this is all his work. Absolutely fabulous. Really, really good. I love it. I love it a lot. Hopefully my Renegade can look something as nice as that anyway. It's superb. Absolutely superb. And there we go. We're got a few more down this way. Couple of Jabiroos, like 3. The Sonex over there, that polished one was a Sonex as well. So we've got a bit of variety, a bit of few different things. I'll shut you off and I'll start back up again in a minute. Do a little bit of a walk along this flight line. These, as I explained earlier, these aeroplanes are, most of them are part of a formation group. There's either 12 or 13 aeroplanes in the formation. This one, which is clearly not an RV, and most of the rest are RVs. Okay, there's a 7A, and looks like a 6 to me, or no, it's a 7. Okay. I know this aeroplane from Western Australia, when I used to live over there. Look at that, he's got similar chocks to what I use. It's a beautiful colour. I think I like my tamed down orange a bit more than that one, but anyway. Well, this is pretty neat. Okay. Do you know what he's using as an engine?
I have no idea. That is a Subaru engine.
Oh, righto.
Makes about, I think he's got more than 300 horsepower in there
Okay.
when he wants it.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Rather strange sound to it. And
Yeah,
you
imagine.
rudder and not right.
And the top goes
Yeah,
the wrong way.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
fantastic.
our solo aerobatic guy.
Oh, righto. Good work. Well, there we go. RV8 with a Subaru engine. You need 300 horses. I need 300 horses. Amazing. Okay. And hard jacker. In Australia that means hard work. I imagine it would be. I don't know Victors, but this is a Victor Air Tourer. Well, it's a Victor, put it that way. Yeah, these have been around for a long time, since probably the 60s. Most likely made in Australia by the Victor Lawnmower Company. They certainly look nice, these things, don't they? That's a damn beautiful aeroplane. Well, lovely, absolutely lovely. The 7A. And this 6, I don't know the actual person that built it, but I know of the aeroplane for years. This is one of the first 6s made in Western Australia, or from a very long time ago. RV7A. I like the Rego, Victor India. I think that'd be roughly 7 if you counted it up and took your shoes and socks off. And yeah, that's a nice looking airplane as well. That's a 7A. So there we go. There's you might be able to see over in the background there some of the proceedings that's going on. Now, you've got to bear in mind this is a normal Friday. This is a work day. There's no spectators in that here yet. They're all at work. So we've got a pretty good turnout for this time of day. This is what you need at a fly-in. Foss's Gin Elixir. Obviously local distillery. And over here we've got the small batch wines. These aeroplanes from here are not really sports aircraft. This is different. These are Recreational Aviation Australia aeroplanes.
It's Friday afternoon and I'm heading back to Temora. The time is, let's have a look. The time is about 28 minutes past 4. I departed at pretty much spot on 4 o'clock. So I'm half an hour into the flight. We're actually at the correct altitude now of 9,500 or thereabouts. I'm pretty much spot on track. And we've got about 217 nautical miles to run. Everything, all the instruments are in the green. We're travelling at about our 65% power right now. And if you can see that, we're doing about 170 knots across the ground. So I've actually got a slight tailwind. Matter of fact, it's quite a slight tailwind, almost 20 knots. I'm pretty happy with that. I can live with that quite well, thank you very much. And yeah, that's the countryside outside, pretty desolate. Where are we? We're pretty much. This is actually called the Hay Plains. Plains for us is dead flat. Probably Pampa if you're a Spanish-speaking person. But yeah, pretty flat countryside. Very low rainfall. When it does rain, of course, you can't move because everything's flooded because it's flat and nothing runs downhill, so the water just sits there and you've got to wait for it to evaporate. But yeah, that was a pretty good day. I achieved what I came to achieve, and yeah, had a pretty good flight over, and so far it's shaping up to be an even better flight back. You rarely get a 20-knot tailwind, and I'll take it. If they're handing out tailwinds, that's no problem, I'll have it. But I'll try and turn you around here, what the heck. Yep, sure can't.
Delta ambulance 345, maintaining.
Righto, here I am.
Ambulance 345, Belmont South.
Yeah, that's a terrible look, isn't it? That's what I look like front on. Anyway, if you enjoy this sort of thing and a little bit of flying, I do this because I know there are a lot of people that can't. I can hop in the airplane and go flying virtually any day of the week. You know, my house is, I'm not sure if it's 6 metres or 8 metres away from my hangar. So, you know, it's a very short walk. I can hop in the airplane again, but I know there are a lot of people that can't do that. So, if you want to see me doing this sort of thing, just let me know, and I'll try and accommodate for you. You know, I mean, if I can take you with me, look at that. There's a spare seat there, right there, with my junk on it. I hate that with a passion. I absolutely hate flying with an empty seat. It's just such a waste. If there was a person sitting in that seat, it would cost me about an extra $2 to do this trip that we're doing now. Virtually nothing. It would cost me virtually nothing for a passenger. I did ask a couple of people in Temora if they wanted to come with me. Oh no, I've got to rearrange my soft drawer, or I don't like the SAAA or the Business Sports Aircraft Association. I'll go by myself, no big deal. But yeah, so if you want to see anything, you know, any of the sort of things that I get up to, I'll just publish them. You watch them if you like. If you don't like, go to another channel. Go and, I don't know, watch how to do nickling, as my wife calls it, or something like that. Anyway, if you enjoy it, let me know. Let me know, and I'll do more of whatever you want to see. It's not going to take too much arm twisting to get me. We've got about 110 nautical miles to run to Temora. We're still doing 172 knots, which we've been doing above 170 for the entire trip once I leveled out. But I came across these few little clouds along the way here, and I'm 99% sure that they were put here for our purposes. They're a little bit below us. They're probably at 8,500 or something like that. We're at 9,500. So I'm thinking we might just sneak down and have a quick look at them, and then come back up to 9,500 just for the hell of it. Just a bit of a tip. If you're presented with something like this and you see clouds all over the place, now there's some holes. There's plenty of holes. It's not completely overcast, but you can't tell how many holes there are because you're looking at the same level as the clouds. Just look at the ground. You can see the shadow of the clouds on the ground. And that'll tell you that there's plenty of holes, yeah? We're not getting a real good, yeah, there's pretty good shadow out to the left, I think. But yeah, you can actually use this to your advantage. That's just my 5-cent tip for the day. These things come up on you very quickly, you know, there's cloud and yeah, we're getting a bit closer, whatever. No. But they rush. This will start to rush very shortly. And here it comes really quickly. Yeah, we won't do that again. We'll get back, we're a little bit under 8,500 right now. We'll get back up to our chosen altitude of 9,500. And we don't need to rush it, we'll just get up there slowly. We came down slowly. But yeah, I took advantage of that, what we can see the cloud. And we've got a frequency change as well, so let's grab that.
I confirm, yeah. Whiskey Foxtrot Delta, area QNH 1022.
1022, Whiskey Fox.
Delta Romeo Charlie, contact Channel 129.48, g'day. 298, Delta Romeo Charlie, g'day.
Okay, I've decided to bring you back on for the descent into Temora. We're currently, well, a little bit above our assigned altitude right now. We're meant to be at 9,500 feet. Temora's roughly 2,000 feet. We need to arrive in Temora at 2,500 feet and decide which runway we're going to use. So we want to descend at about 500 feet a minute, so about 6 minutes out from Temora we start our descent. 12 minutes out from Temora we start our descent, and we're about 12 minutes out from Temora now, so at about 30 nautical miles if you can read that. And we're still doing our 170 knots. So let's wake everybody up at Temora and let them know we're coming.
Traffic, Temora, Papa, Oscar Charlie, RB6 is currently 3.30 nautical miles to the west inbound, shortly be leaving 9,500 on descent, and estimating the circuit area tomorrow, time 45. Papa, Oscar Charlie.
Okay. Now all we've got to do to descend is we need to just get rid of some of this gear for starters. We need to richen the mixture up a little bit, because we're going to be descending. And remember this, we just reduce the power to 19 inches of mercury. Right there, 19 inches. And the airplane should, of its own accord, believe it or not, should descend at about, and I've got my head in the road, but it should descend at about 500 feet a minute. Now I've noticed that up here at 9,500 it takes a little bit to get its attention. It doesn't respond immediately. But it will eventually get there, and as we reduce altitude, it'll get down to 500 feet a minute, or maybe even a little bit more. I'm not actually pushing the stick forward. Matter of fact, I don't even have hold of the stick right now. It'll come and go from the 500 feet a minute until we get down to probably below about 8.5, and then it'll work out what it's meant to be doing. Now, just as the descent into Wentworth, as we get lower and lower, the manifold pressure will go up, and we need to keep reducing it to keep it at 19 inches. We've still got most of our fuel left. We haven't used very much. And so far we've been in flight for about an hour and 36 minutes. So, yeah, we're doing pretty good in the fuel department, and we've been doing that 170 knots the whole way. I just reduced the power a little bit more, bring that actually a little bit below 19 inches, but pretty much 19 inches. We're down to 9,000 feet now, and we're still reducing. We're pretty much on track. It's this one, where are we? This one with the heading bug. Everything else is good. 176 knots of ground speed, so we're at 22 miles to run. I like to keep the exhaust gas temperature on this airplane down to about 1250 for the descent, and that temperature will start going up as we get lower and lower as well. So we'll keep richening the mixture and backing off the throttle. 20 miles to run. The manifold pressure's sneaking up a little bit, so we'll just reduce a little bit more. Below 8,500 now. I'll try not to touch the trim. We were trimmed for straight and level at 9,500. It's a bit all over the place. It's beyond 500 feet a minute. The only reason you pluck 500 feet out of the air as a number, if you start cranking it to 2,000 feet a minute, all you can see, you can't see sky. All you can see is farm paddocks. And if your passengers anyways nervous at all, they're going to be getting a bit very nervous. In fact, that if all they can see is farm paddocks and they can't see any blue sky. So yeah, you're trying not to come down at breakneck speed. Like that's 1,000 feet a minute right now. And we'll back off just a little bit more. Exhaust gas temperature's still okay. And we're down to 7,500 now. And 16 miles to run. We're probably going to be a little bit high when we get there. We're going to need to get, we've been below 500 feet a minute a fair bit, so we're going to go above 500 feet a minute. Because it's probably been a warm day, the air will probably be a bit bouncy as we get down lower. So then all we've got to do is try to keep this needle out of the yellow arc if we start hitting bumps. It's fine to go into the yellow now if we want to, but not if we're in a bump. The yellow arc is just watch yourself. Don't be going doing anything stupid at this, like those bumps there, for instance. And we'll hit more of those as we get down. Yeah, don't. Okay. All right. Well, we'll slow our rate of descent a little bit. But we'll keep descending. Yeah, we're only 13 miles out now. But we don't want to get that speed up into the yellow and start hitting bumps like that. That's just basically stupidity. I'm pretty good at that though, most of the time, I must admit. That's Temora straight on the nose, which you may or may not be able to make out very well. There's still that inversion. The glider pilots won't be out. If there's an inversion, you lose your gliders straight away. What causes an inversion is it's an inversion of the lapse rate, basically. Lapse rate is just simply losing temperature as you gain altitude. That's your lapse rate. It's usually about 2 degrees C per 1,000 feet, or 3 degrees C. You know, as a rough rule of thumb, without taking your shoes and socks off to get to whatever. So, yeah, if it turns around, that's an inversion. It's actually gaining temperature with altitude. And gliders don't fly in those conditions at all. We'll make another call now. Get rid of some more power. Temora Papa, Charlie's now 10 nautical miles to the west inbound and on descent through 5,500, estimating the circuit area time 4.5. That's basically 3 minutes. and we're still up near the yellow. That's 177 across the ground. Of course, we can go below our 19 inches of mercury, but I'm really careful with this engine that I don't want it to turn into a vacuum pump. And you get a thing that's called ring flutter, where the rings bounce backwards and forwards in the piston, and where the ring grooves oversized. I can see the airport right there. And so I do powered descents. If you can just close the throttle altogether, I suppose, and just descend with the throttle shut altogether, and all you do then is you overcool the forward cylinders in particular. You suffer from this ring flutter, and you eventually break fins off the engine. Go and have a talk to your parachute guys. See how they descend. But anyway, there we are at 3,500 feet. I was kind of hoping to be at 2,500 by the time we get over the firm. We've still got another couple of nautical miles to run. But my target was 2,500. Look out the window, look at the windsock, and work out which runway I'm going to use. That was my intention. I'm through 3,000 now. Yeah, coming down at nearly 1,000 feet a minute. Okay, I see a windsock here near these piano keys, to the left of those piano keys just here. I'll get you there somewhere. It's I don't know what it's saying, I can't tell. I think it's pretty much saying nothing. There's a slight northerly by the looks of things. So I'll put you away and I'll talk to you later.